All right, Jeffrey. Quicker. Good. You're on. Okay. I would like to call to order the Morgantown Utility Board regular meeting for Monday, April 11th, 2022. We have a couple of meetings that we need to approve the minutes of March 8th, March 21st.
I motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of March 8th, 2022 as submitted, and for the special meeting of March 21st, 2022 as submitted.
I second.
Okay, motion and a second to approve the minutes of both meetings, March 8th and March 21. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Now open the meeting up to anyone from the public who would like to address the board. Mike, any notes, letters, memos?
No, sir.
Nobody is in the public, so we will move to new business. There's none. All right, to Coven Creek Reservoir under old business.
Okay, well, Canal Stone, as far as we know, they're still on schedule to show up in the beginning of May. And hopefully within 2 months of that time, the dam will be completed. So we're just contemplating some good weather, or hoping for good weather, I should say. We have met with the city of Morgantown and Rich Edwards with WVU. We met back on the 15th. To discuss recreational opportunities, and Jeff is currently working on the agreement between MUB, the city, and Bow Park for the to establish the rules for recreation. And once that's completed, we will provide that to the board of directors for the review.
What are those communications like? I mean, work out timing wise?
Oh, I think so. I think it's Rich. Rich was on site with them, and it's part of that.
Yeah, I think the biggest timing thing we have to worry about is just, the restoration part of what we're doing. The reclaim or the borrow areas are being reclaimed. That's where all the trees are being planted and shrubs, and so we need to have an idea of if they're going to do a trail, where that is going to go, so that we don't plant trees and have to remove them later on. And so we still have,
a plan.
yes, and they're in the process of providing us a plan. And as long as we have that before they start, which they're still weeks, maybe months away from starting that, we should be fine.
I would hope that whatever the resulting plan includes how we will be able to address ensuring the water quality is maintained in the reservoir. Because I know at the top of the reservoir, we have a silt filtration trap built in. But along the sides, if we get significant erosion from trails or any other use of the reservoir, that has the ability to impair water quality. And at some future date, I would like to have an update of our plans that we had approved some time ago, dealing with acquisition of upstream, not property per se, but land use to ensure the continuation of water quality in that watershed. I think we had a plan that we put together, remember, and we were going to be using a certain portions of the monies that we raised from discretionary accounts to acquire those properties options.
Yes.
So it might be useful to make sure we have an update of that at some future point.
That's with the service line insurance program.
Right.
Proceeds from what we dedicated. Yes, we will do that.
Because I'd like to know where we are on that, just to make sure we ensure the quality of the water that's coming in to that watershed.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, the discussions have included both park. Is there a thought that they would be willing to manage the trail and or whatever sighting there is out at the?
They were on site with us, both a rep from Boat Park, and the conversation was that they were going to be responsible for maintenance.
And trash and anything like that. Recreation tends to bring trash.
Yes, it'll all be managed by Boat Park.
But a question I have as the management is police services in the reservoir, since technically it's viewed as being not county property. I've been led to believe that the county commission and the sheriff's office will not be providing police services to the reservoir area. So in addition to Boat Park maintaining service as it relates to trail maintenance and trash, I would like to have some clarity as to what police service would be provided to reservoir in the event that events occur at the reservoir which are detrimental to public safety.
Good point.
So really, at this point, we've got the meeting that's come together to talk about what both parties in the city would like to see and who is responsible for what. And at this point, any movement that can be done is done before the finished construction. So we're waiting for a plan and then we'll know more specifically.
But my point is the Boat Park plan probably will not address policing of that property. So I'd like to have some clarity as to who's going to be responsible there.
We'll be circulating that agreement this week that Mike mentioned. So we covered a lot of topics that need to be addressed. So
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, Michael, so wastewater.
Well, the wastewater plant, nothing really new to report. The punch list items are being worked on and they're making good progress, we understand. So hopefully they're going to get finished up this year and we can get them on their way.
We working on some type of some dates for a tour down there or?
Yes, we've had several requests now for tours, but I thought we would maybe try to discuss all of that on the executive session as we're throwing out dates and not trying to do that so much in the public portion.
Fair enough. Okay, industrial park.
Okay, as of March the 18th, Green River has installed approximately 743 feet of gravity sewer main and 6 manholes. There's 2 crews on site. One is installing the gravity sewer main, the other is working on the lift station near Mountaintop beverage facility. The main lift station wet well has been set and the discharge piping and the vaults have been installed. There are 2 crews on site for the bore and jack. One crew has completed the bore pit for the work under SI Group's property and has begun boring a 30-foot steel casing. The second crew is for the construction of the force main under the Mon River. They've completed 2 passes and they're now working on the 3rd pass. And once that is completed, they'll be ready to pull the pipe under the river. We expect them to start that process this week. So they're making great progress, really. We've held the pre-construction meeting with Region 6 Planning and Development Council, Anderson Excavating, and Mid-Atlantic Storage regarding the water project. All the contracts have been executed and have been approved by the US EDA, so we can move forward with construction. And I believe that materials have been ordered. And we have our first change order. But it's a good one. I know you don't hear that very often.
Yeah.
It's actually due to supply issues. We were wanting to use what's called ball and socket pipe, but the ability to get that type of material is going to take too long. So we're going to come back to just ductile, I believe.
So that we had a substitution that ultimately is cheaper.
So I think it's about a $30,000 reduction. So,
But the big thing was when we could get the materials. So that's why the change was.
The timeline of the project up there. They will much appreciate being able to have water go away from the facility.
yeah, I think that everyone's moving forward as quickly as they possibly can.
Awesome. Okay. Flood study. Flood study.
What we've completed are interviews with the consulting engineers, and we have selected Strand and Associates to work on the flood study for us. We are currently negotiating a contract for fees and the scope of services. And once that is all completed, we will schedule them to come in and give a presentation to the board of directors and to discuss the contract. We envision this sort of being done in phases rather than one gigantic contract. Do a portion, see where that leads us, and then go into the next phase. Later on, what we will see is that this flood study is also going to have some important information for our long-term control plan with our management of our CSOs as well. And also the Pocono project will also dovetail into the long-term control plan. So many of the things that we were planning on doing and getting accomplished will all be part of the ultimate long-term control plan.
Sounds good. Upper Pocono.
We have selected Downstream Strategies, and RK&K is our consultants for the project. We are in the same process of negotiating the contract, and once we have that ready to go, we will have them come in and put on a presentation to the board and to discuss the contract for the board's approval.
In these two, do you anticipate we're a month away from our next meeting? Do you want us to meet earlier to make sure that these projects can get up and running, or is it okay to wait until our next regular meeting?
I would think it'd be okay to wait to our next regular meeting, don't you,
I
Rich?
think so too.
I don't think that it's, would put anything behind.
What about the supplies downstream? Downstream, but the supplies that will be required to be installed as part of that project, are there problems with lead times and getting those kinds of supplies?
You're talking about the Pocono project?
Yes.
Probably, yes.
I would say any project is
Yes.
going to have difficulties now. Most of what we use is PVC, and with PVC, wherever oil goes, the price of PVC follows. And well, unless it goes down.
Well, that's what you brought up, that question, and that's one of the things that was in the back of my mind, that if we need to expedite it in order to secure the appropriate materials to go forward.
I think on Pocono, one of the bigger challenges we're going to have are easements.
Okay.
I think that's going to be a big part of our time, is going to go into acquiring easements all along the project area, because we're going to be installing new lines. Our existing easements aren't going to cover that. So I think that we want to make sure that all those are correct as we move forward.
All those easements will be in the name of MUB.
Correct.
Okay. Question.
Okay, E.L. Robinson is finalizing the modeling of the existing water and sanitary sewer systems for the Chaplain Hill, Morgantown area. We've obtained the information from West Ridge that E.L. Robinson needs to look at the future demand. So all of that is being completed. Rich, do we have a date? We expect to see that finished now.
Don't believe I've heard a date.
So it was the information from West Ridge was a little bit later in coming than we had hoped, but everything, I feel good that everything will be on track.
Office renovations.
We, when we advertised for architectural services, we had 11 firms submit, which was excellent. We have finished reviewing the statement of qualifications, and we've developed a short list, and we have listed 5 firms. Typically, we only do 3, but the other 2 firms, the point spread was so close, we decided, no, let's go ahead and interview all 5 of these firms. So I think we've got a great group of architects that have come in, and some great statements of qualifications.
Okay. What's the next one?
White
Uh,
Park.
White Park,
Park.
we, White Park. So White Park, right now, we're waiting to see the bid documents. I don't believe we got those while I was on vacation. We haven't received those yet, and so we'll update the board as we go forward. And we haven't received any documents on the bidding of the trees either, have we, Jared?
That's correct.
Okay. So once they we get them, we'll make sure the board is completely informed of the process.
When did we agree to that? When did we sign that agreement?
22nd.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
March 22nd?
Yeah, it's, last week. Special meeting, yeah.
It's 3 weeks ago.
21st.
Today's when we
Yeah,
approved
that was
it.
on the 19th.
But when did, was that the city signed it then? as well?
And that it was after the city council meeting the following night. So it was that week it was signed. Or at least all agreed.
And it was part of that agreement that we would look at these bid documents.
That's our understanding, yes.
Okay, thank you for that update, Michael. General Manager's report.
Okay, we're still making progress rather on Baird Street. I don't know if you were able to look at the photo that I sent out this morning, but we're seeing the grass grow in the areas that have been reclaimed. They are installing the new line up on top of the street on Baird Street now. That's being completed. There's a little bit more soil study that needs to be completed before the wall can be designed. So that's, we expect once Anderson has their equipment out, they'll be able to get the drill rig in and do those borings, Rich. I'd say that probably a week out or so.
I'm saying next week, hopefully we have that information back to Alpha.
So everything is moving forward, but it's been like everything with this project. It just seems to, you touch one domino and 10 fall. So that's kind of where we are, but we are making very good progress.
So the wall is gonna go along the side of the hill before it crosses the rail trail.
It's basically going to replace the box, the culvert that's there now that's being taken out,
Okay.
which is kind of holding up Bear Street is right up against that. So since we're taking that out, we've got to put something back in place, to stabilize what's above it.
We don't want Baird Street and Forest Avenue down on the trail. That might be a little unpopular.
You know what? Yes.
They're making good progress.
It's not big grass.
Yes. Very cool fertilizers, right? So, but it's looking good, and they're doing a great job. I'm continuing with the small group staff meetings. We're kind of had a pause there for vacation, but we'll be getting back to that this week. And they've been very productive, I believe, getting to meet with all the employees again and see where we are a year later.
Any insights or any thoughts that you want to share so far?
Well, actually, there's a lot of contentment, I would say. I mean, people if there's nothing earth shattering, you know, when I first came on board, the biggest issue was healthcare. And the board fixed that. And so, you know, that, of course, you know, inflation, we've been talking about inflation, gas prices, and, you know, it's, and I think it's fair to say too, everyone feels a bit of the anxiety with what the war in Ukraine. I think that just sort of permeates, you know, it's just all through the news every day, and, you know, everyone hears it. And so, you know, you have that uncertainty of what it's going to do here at home, you know, with inflation and food prices and gasoline. So, but overall, I think, you know, again, nothing earth shattering, but it's good comments.
And I know I've shared with you feedback that some people give staff that work in the field. And I think some of the others have picked up too, and I think it's good for them to hear that too. That we seem to be making a few people happy out there with our efforts. And I think the staff need to understand that that's a very key part of their job, is their relationship with the customer, because they're out there directly meeting with the guy that brings my back and the guy that comes to read my meter. They're all really nice, friendly, capable people. I'm proud of that.
You know, I think everyone, all the field staff see that as being part of their job, you know, working with the community, because the fact is the customers have more interaction with the staff than anyone here at this table really. And they get to talk to them, and, you know, I think chips really are number one point of contact when calls come in from the outside. And, you know, every now and then someone will take the time to type up a nice note, share, and it's always nice to hear that when everyone is, when people are happy.
How many openings does MUB have at the moment?
Well, we may have a couple.
I think there's 2 openings right now.
And what's the total staffing?
We have 146 right now.
I think that says an awful lot about the happiness of the folks that are working on staff, that you have that kind of employment and only 2 current positions open. There is a lot. On a call earlier this morning, a public entity has been trying to fill dozens of positions to no avail. The fact that you only have 2 openings right now, I think, shows that there's a lot that's going right.
I don't want you to walk away with the misimpression we haven't had our challenges, because we certainly have. But one of our very best recruiting tools has been the insurance. That's been a game changer. We were able to hire a gentleman for working on our lift stations, to be a supervisor there with a lot of experience. He has, most of his background was in the coal industry, but that's what helped us attract that kind of talent. Was he looked at it and says, my goodness, you know, this is great, you know, for me. So yeah, it's really helped our recruiting efforts.
Recognition and adapting to issues on the administration and board level. It's been doing wonders.
So we've got those positions. I think right now, you know, our last position we just filled is in our payroll clerk. So that's made Chip kind of happy.
Yes, it has.
But she's a lot of experience, and we were very fortunate to hire her.
We had last year a staff appreciation luncheon that we had down at the water treatment plant. I forget what time of year, but it seemed like it was during the summer.
September, I believe.
September. I don't know if you've given thought to having another staff appreciation lunch over the next 3 or 4 months,
We
which would include September, I guess, if you extended out far enough.
I think Amy's got your apron ordered.
I'll dish it up
Yeah.
like I dish it up for everyone.
Sling some hash there.
Yep.
You know, well, being from Texas, we are kind of expecting big
Barbecue.
spit, you know, out there.
Yeah.
Big
Oh, yeah, we can do it.
rotation, yeah. So yes, we are definitely planning on doing that again.
Good.
in September. I think it was the staff loved it. We got a lot of great feedback. For the board members that were able to attend, that was really nice. And the staff enjoys getting to talk to the board and seeing the board.
We got a chance to talk with staff that we normally wouldn't have an opportunity to talk with.
I think all of the senior staff feel the same way because we won't get to see those folks all the time.
Look forward to it.
I'll help you dig the pit for the barbecue the day before.
And you'll wait. I need it.
All right, Michael. Keep going.
Okay, last thing, I had contact with a person from DC, Senator Capito and Representative McKinley are going to be in town in May and would like an opportunity to stop in and see the sewer treatment facility. So it's very popular. So I thought we would discuss all these dates of different groups wanting to come in and see what we can put together.
Fair enough. Okay, thanks for
That's all
that.
I have. Thank you.
Thanks for the update. We'll move to board member issues or discussions. Anybody have any board member have anything like to bring up to the staff? Michael? All good? Okay. I guess that leads us to move into executive session.
I move to convene an executive session of the Board of Directors under the provisions of West Virginia Code 6-9A-4B2A to discuss personnel issues and legal issues pursuant to West Virginia Code Section 6-94-4B12. And further move that the April 11th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of Directors be adjourned at the conclusion of the executive session.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to move to executive session under West Virginia Code 69A-4B2A. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll move into executive session and the entire staff. Michael,
Yes.
Okay.